Either you clicked on this video because A, you're in a career you hate right now, B, you're not in a career and you have no idea what the heck to do, or C, you just wanted to say hi, in which case I love you. Seriously though, this video is everything. I feel like it's so underrated how important your career is. I mean, you think it's so important to find friends who are great, to find a husband you love. Guess what? You're gonna be spending more time with your career than with your husband or your wife or your spouse, whatever. Your career is your life, and if you don't like your career, you don't like your life. I mean, I know that's being dramatic, and I know there are probably people who are gonna comment below saying that's not true, but I know for me personally, I don't know, like I have to love what I'm doing, and my career is what I'm doing. It's what I'm spending a minimum of 40 hours a week on, and if I don't love what I'm spending 40 hours a week on, how the heck can I love my life? So I'm gonna give you guys some tips and tricks for finding a career you love. You guys have seen it before your very own eyes that I did that. I found a career I loved, and the thing is, I know from the outside it could look so easy, like, oh, she just knew this is what she wanted to do, this is what she's doing, okay, that's her, but this is me, what am I gonna do? Trust me when I say that I was in your shoes. I mean, what, 3 years ago, I was still in college. I had no idea what I wanted to do at this point. I didn't decide I wanted to be a TV news reporter until my senior year of college, second semester. Yeah, you heard that right. And I was just clueless, and the thing that I want you guys to know, firstly, is it's okay to be clueless. A lot of us are. Yeah, there are some people who are like, oh wow, I wanted to, you know, I don't know, paint the Mona Lisa from day one. I have no idea what I'm saying. That's okay. But there are some people who I feel like are just so, they're just born to do something. That's just never how I felt. I always felt like I had all of these different like things and where do I go with it? So let's just get into the tips and stop using my hands like this. That's annoying. First of all, you need to figure out what you love. And I want a disclaimer. I had always heard this tip and it aggravated me so much because I'm like, how do I just turn what I love into a career? Like that doesn't even make sense. Like what? It sounds so simple, too easy. And yes, that is true. You have to make tweaks to it. So being a TV news reporter, right? I wasn't born, I didn't come out of the womb saying, wow, I want to spout off news all day. No, but throughout my high school years, throughout my college years mainly, I started to develop these passions. So I always knew I had YouTube that I was doing. YouTube for me was not going to be a career though. But how could I turn it into something similar, right? And then I started developing an interest in news. So I tweaked my passion. My main passion is just talking in front of a camera. Like that's seriously just my passion, which sounds weird. And that's another huge tip. You can't like fight your passion. Like I didn't want that to be my passion. I'd rather my passion be like, I don't know, engineering, like pays the big bucks, which we'll talk about in a second, but I did not want my passion to be my passion, but it was. You cannot help your passion. Like it's just what you love. So I took this and I tweaked it. I realized, okay, I love talking in front of a camera. That's my oven. The squash is ready. I realized I love talking in front of a camera. And then also in college, I started developing a huge interest in news. This is something I never had in high school. And I was like, man, interesting. And I never ever thought I could be an on-air, on-camera TV news reporter until my senior year, second semester. That's really what held me back for so long. I just didn't think I'd be good enough. And it's another cliche, when you follow your dreams, you kind of just have to take a chance and work your butt off. I mean, in college, I was doing internships. I was waking up super early 3 days a week, catching a train before the sun even rose, and coming home after the sun set. And that was so that I could do my internships. And there were times with my internships, I actually remember when I interned at Madison Square Garden, MSG Networks, I was like proactive about it. I remember on one of my days off, I did not get paid for this at all. They asked if I wanted to come to a New York Rangers practice to see the behind the scenes, what it's like. I took the liberty of getting in my car and driving about an hour and a half just to see how all that happened, because the production of it is really what the focus was. And so you have to have that drive. The reason I had that drive, here's the key here, is because I was doing something I loved. I was following my passion. I loved the camera, video, production. And I'll tell you right now, it's not that I'm some sort of like, oh my God, I'm just such a hard worker. I do think I worked hard, but it was easy for me to do because I loved it. And you're not gonna be able to put in the same amount of effort, time, anything like that unless you love it. You're just not. Like you could be the most disciplined person ever, but it's a difference between, okay, cool, you're disciplined, you might give 100%. If you love it though, you're gonna give 110%. Next thing, and this really should have been the first thing, ignore money. It is hard. It's tempting to just Google, I've literally done this before, Google careers that make the most money. I've done that before. Because money gets you things. Money gets you an apartment. Money paid for my rug. Money paid for that table. Money pays for things, and you want money. If you're sitting here saying you don't want money, you're lying. I want money, but money isn't everything. Here's how I look at it. The reason you want money is because you think it'll make you happy, you know? Buying that rug made me pretty happy. Being able to afford this apartment makes me happy. But if you're getting that money in a way that doesn't excite you, that bores you for 40 freaking hours a week minimum, you're not gonna be happy. And then now that I've got on my spiel a little bit about how money, you know, it's not everything, let me tell you something. It is possible to kind of just defy the odds, you know, go above the boundaries. So for example, broadcast journalism, do you want to look up the starting salaries of broadcast journalism? Because go ahead, look them up. There are some broadcast journalists who start out in really small markets and they are on food stamps. That is how little this industry pays when you're first starting out. I saw those numbers. I knew what I was getting myself into, but I didn't care. There was just a part of me that like, this is how I know that I chose the right thing. I didn't care. I was just like, you know what? Okay, cool. Like, I want to do this. Like, the fact they're even paying me $1 to do something I love, like, cool. But then here's the thing. I worked hard and I ended up in a market that's a little bit maybe bigger than I could have been, and I made a little bit more than I could have. And then I worked really hard, and basically the moral of the story is that you work your way up. So maybe you might not start out, like I had to watch my friends in New York City making salaries that were double what I was making, maybe even more than that actually. And I was like, cool. But here's the thing, I can honestly say not for 1 minute was I jealous, because all I thought was, ooh, well, I would hate to do that. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just am not interested in their job. Maybe they are, you know what I mean? Like, that's the thing, good for them, they chose it, and it just so happens it pays the bills a lot more. But I'd be miserable. And I always listened to this little voice in my head that my dad always said, if you choose a job you love, you never have to work a day in your life. He told me that since, I don't know, I was like 6 or 7, 8 maybe. And it is so true. And so that was always my goal. I was never about the money. I mean, I went into college majoring broadly in journalism, not knowing broadcast is where I wanted to go. Print journalism pays just as little. So I went into this knowing might not make a lot of money, but I want to be happy. I want to do what I love. And I want to try to work my way up. I want to try to make the big bucks. And if you work really hard, it can happen. Another huge thing is read about how others did it, but don't just follow their exact path. So you can't really see it, but I have this little like bookcase over here. I have read, gosh, okay, the autobiographies of people in my industry, I have probably read, I don't know, well over 100. It is my obsession to this day. I'm in the industry, but I'm obsessed with just reading, like, how did they do it? What did they do? And okay, ready? I've read over 100. Not one of them had the same path. Not one of them had the same exact journey. But you learn tips and tricks from what they did. You learned what worked, what didn't. And it's really, really helpful. So you should definitely be familiar of the path, you know what I mean? But don't just set aside, like I never ever reading these was like, okay, gotta go A, B, C, D. No, it just was like, oh, okay, so that's another way it can be done. And you keep it in your back pocket. Another huge thing, don't limit yourself to traditional careers. Like go on Indeed or Glassdoor.com. These are 2 big websites that help me get a job. They're just job websites. And type in something you're interested in. So for example, if you're really into social media, you're building your platform and this is something you can see yourself doing, type in social media. What pops up? You know, there are all kinds of new social media jobs that I couldn't even tell you about right now because I don't know them, but I know one of them I didn't know existed until pretty recently. It's social media manager. That could be cool. So really kind of just try to like see what's out there that maybe they're not teaching you in college. You know, in college, they're giving you traditional things. You don't have to be traditional. I mean, my job's by no means untraditional, but in my college, I know of one other girl who's a TV news reporter. We actually anchored on our college news. It was not pretty on my part. But I know of one other girl who decided to pursue a career being a TV news reporter. It just wasn't like a thing to do, but that did not stop me because you have to kind of just do your own research, do your own thing, and pursue it. And then this one is huge. Keep in mind, what you want to do might not exist yet. And that's a crazy thought, but in today's day and age, especially with this thing right here, the computer, the phone, you know, all that kind of stuff, the internet, careers are forming every day. 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years ago, Instagram influencers, that's a foreign concept. You can possibly create your own career, what you want to do. I mean, people do it every day. It is possible. The amount of drive and passion and work that goes with that, I think people just don't understand. A lot of people think working for yourself or creating your own thing, that's like the easy way out. No, you're gonna have to be putting in double. I'm saying like double what you put in on the norm at your job. And that's something just a lot of people are not willing to do. A lot of people can't do. It's hard. That's something like at this point, I couldn't do that. I don't have 80 hours. But keep in mind that like, it's just so exciting when you think like the possibilities are endless. And that's the thing, as you're working super hard, and you're doing these things, like, don't forget to enjoy your life, because the journey of getting to where you are is seriously just as fun as getting there. I can tell you that 100%. It's still your life. Like, it's not like you just put your life on hold and then suddenly you're gonna get where you want to be and you're gonna start living it. I always think of that, because no, you're gonna get to where you want to be and be like, now what? Working toward your goals is what makes you so happy. And that's why I feel like a lot of rich people are unhappy, because it's kind of just like, now what? I remember Oprah talked about that, where she's like, the feeling where you can buy anything, absolutely anything. It just like, then nothing really means anything, you know what I mean? So, or I shouldn't say nothing, I mean nothing materialistic. She found her happiness in other ways. That was the point of the article I read. Okay. And I was also reading an autobiography, oddly enough, by Bobby Bones. He's like a radio host. I don't think I've ever heard him or listened to him. Like I said, I'm just obsessed with autobiographies, especially of people in the industry of like radio, TV, all that. What he said was really interesting, and it's, if you keep going down a path, you're trying to do something and you get told no over and over and over and over again, take that as a sign that it is what you are meant to do. Because if you keep going back at it, that's true passion. There are so many things that I've tried that I'm told no, and I'm like, okay, bye-bye, I don't really care about it. But when it's something you truly want to do, if no doesn't stop you, boom, right there. I mean, you are gonna win out more times than not, just by having that passion. I'm really passionate about helping you guys kind of on this journey of your life. I know a lot of you are at that age or that stage of your life where either you're looking for a career or you're in a career, you just started it and you're like, I'm just not happy. And that's okay. You have to know that's okay. Like, that's normal. Welcome to, you know, the world, the earth, 2019, you're normal. No, that's okay, but start working on it, start looking. You can't just be sitting on that couch like, oh my gosh, life is miserable, this is all happening to me. Bad things do happen, but you also need to take the initiative and do something about it. I'm gonna stop rambling. What the heck? Why am I turning into freaking, like, trying to be like a little mini Buddha over here? I'm not, so I'm gonna go. But if you have not already followed me on social media, all of the links are down below. Clancy Burke on all of them, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram.